Let's get sorry. I just broke our all right. I just broke our phone holder. Don't worry, I've got a spare. All right, we're coming. Don't worry, my lovely little babies. Right. Okay. Make sure I don't break this one as well. Sorry, guys. We are so professional here. We know exactly what we're doing. Come on, then. So we're on Elvis Presley Fan on Keto. Put you there. Oh, hang on. Stay there. Stay there. Ella, come on. What a shame I broke that. It's quite a good one as well. Oh well. What's this? Okay. Let's get the... Come on then. Let's do a little walkie. We've got exactly 25 minutes. 25 minutes, doggo. Okay, do we have poo bags? Yes, we got poo bags. Sorry, guys. Right, okay. Let me open this door. Okay, go. Go, 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 go. Okay. Okay, we're on keto and it's spitting. So we're going to walk really fast, try not to get rained on. So we've just had our little discussion about the fake romance between Elvis and Priscilla. We were just trying to work out just how much of the romance was real. Like, obviously we've seen all the pictures, the footage. There's millions of pictures. There's loads of little video clips. It's obvious there were times when they had fun. I would say even happy. Let's be fair. But I also think that, hi Tony, I also think that many of the things that we see are just not reality. And if you watch many of these documentaries, biographies, interviews, books, they piece these pictures together. Hi everyone, hi Elizabeth. They piece these things together to basically paint a beautiful picture, a lovely romance, a lovely. It almost. Do you know what? This is how I felt when I was growing up through the 70s and 80s. I felt part of the story. I wonder if you felt that way, Elizabeth and Tony. Did you feel that way? I almost felt caught up in the Elvis and Priscilla romance. Almost like I was almost part of the family, yeah? Because you really do buy into the romance and think, oh yeah, everything's fine, you know. Then it went wrong when Elvis was unfaithful. Hi, Angie. Angie, I did pass on your message to Tony. So, I'll be honest with you, in the 70s, we're very naive, aren't we? We're like, we've bought into the fairy tale, we've bought into all the, you know, just the different interviews. I remember watching the Terry Wogan interview, the British interviewer. I remember watching Priscilla being interviewed by Terry Wogan. I really liked Terry Wogan. I remember being stunned just how beautiful Priscilla was. And I just remember thinking, yeah, that's Elvis's ex. You know, she's writing a book about him. Actually, do you know, I wouldn't have even looked at her as his ex. No, I never thought of her as his ex. It's actually just something I've just realised. When I was growing up through the 70s and 80s, I never really thought of Priscilla as Elvis's ex. I just thought, oh, Elvis has died. Priscilla is the one that's still alive. Do any of you understand that? Did any of you feel that way? That it wasn't that Priscilla divorced him or he divorced her. Do you? Hello? Nah. It wasn't that Priscilla had ever split up. Hi, Helen. Did any of you feel that way? It was like they were still together even after Elvis died, and that poor Priscilla was left to pick up the pieces. That is how I saw it. Do you get it, guys? Lorna, do you understand that? That when we were in the 70s and 80s, maybe even 90s, that we just sort of presumed, you know, Elvis died, left Priscilla to pick up the pieces, left Priscilla to save Graceland, to open the museum. That's generally how I felt, you know, and that Elvis had been unfaithful and Elvis had taken drugs. Isn't that generally how the world were left to think? It wasn't our place to play detective and start to analyse the relationship, was it really? We didn't think, oh, you know, Elvis has died and Priscilla saved the day. So Priscilla saved the day, yeah? We didn't think to question it. I don't think so. I don't think the public around the world in any country were questioning the relationship between Priscilla and Elvis. I think it was just assumed that Elvis had died and Priscilla had saved the day. Isn't it? I just think, hi Helen, I just think, even when you watch the old interviews, come on, even when you watch the old interviews, let me just get this guy across. Even when you watch the old interviews, you believe it all, don't you? Yeah, you don't, do you? Because in those days, you didn't question it. In those days, if it was on TV, you just believed it. If it was on an interview, if you've got Priscilla Presley telling us what went on, her version of things, you just thought, yeah, that's what happened. Even the interviewers, not many of them questioned it. Unusually, Terry Wogan does question a few things she says. He questions why she chose to write a book when already some trash books had already been written. She says to him, she wants to put the wrongs to right. Her book was going to put the wrongs to right. That's what she says to Terry Wogan. Look up the Terry Wogan interview on YouTube. It's very interesting. Terry Wogan. Look it up, guys. He's one of the few interviewers that could sense something was wrong. It's almost like, hello. It's almost like Terry sensed something. Have any of you here watched that interview? It's almost like Terry Wogan sensed something wasn't right, and instead of just kissing her ass, he questions her. He questions many things. She gets a bit defensive. It's very interesting. I'm going to review it, guys. We've already reviewed it a few times. I'm going to review it again. Nothing like the Piers Morgan interview. The Piers Morgan interview, in 2023 or 4, was it? He just kisses her ass. Terry Wogan doesn't do that. He basically says to her, was there any need to write a book? Hasn't enough been said? He also says to her, there's things in the book that I think Elvis would have not wanted repeated. He says to her, some things that you put in the book should have been kept private. And she defends it. She says, oh no, it just shows him in a more human way. It makes the public see Elvis as a real person, a real man. Yeah, Lorna, we're going to review it again, that one. And the Piers Morgan one. Yeah, that's it, Helen. Terry was not easily fooled. And I think, my guess is that she walked away from that interview not happy with Terry. Not happy with Terry. And I would say Terry was probably quite proud of himself. He did a proper job of journalism, didn't he? He was being a proper journalist. Try and get to the truth. Now, I would say this. In the I think that was the 1980s. I think that was around 1985, at the time of the release of the book, because she's promoting the book, yeah? She'd already done a few trash interviews where she was saying that Elvis could be controlling, that she was unhappy at Graceland's, that Elvis was unfaithful, Elvis took drugs, that Elvis told her how to dress and do her makeup. She had done some interviews playing the victim. So by the time she gets to the point of the release of the book, the public had pretty much been convinced that she was a victim. Her little game plan worked. But Terry seems to have spotted something in her that felt wrong. Now, we, the public, growing up through the 70s and 80s and 90s, we didn't think for a second to question any of it. And I would say, because I don't remember anybody questioning Priscilla's words, do any of you guys remember anyone in the late 70s and the 80s questioning what Priscilla was saying in her interviews? I think there was a lot of stuff in magazines, in TV guide magazines, in the tabloids, that were discussing her new boyfriends, that were discussing the divorces, the divorce settlements, 100% discussing Marco Garibaldi, Mike Stone. I don't think Steve Peck was ever mentioned, the dance instructor. I don't think that was ever mentioned. I don't think the press caught hold of it. Did the press know about Priscilla's unfaithfulness with Steve Peck in 1968, just after Lisa Marie was born? From the research I've done, I haven't seen any articles talking about that. Steve Peck was never mentioned. Elizabeth, I agree. I mean, someone's going to prove me wrong now. Obviously, the Mike Stone was splashed everywhere. Everyone knew about that. But Elvis was blamed, yeah, for his unfaithfulness, for his drug taking, prescribed medication. I just think generally Priscilla has been sailing in calm waters so I think initially when Priscilla left Elvis, I think there was a bit of a storm, there was a bit of a backlash from the fans that supported Elvis. But I think when she started her little game plan of playing down her behaviour, her unfaithfulness, and she started doing interviews playing the victim around the world, you know, all over the world, all tabloids all over the world, magazines, TV guides all over the world, all doing these interviews. Obviously, she's getting paid handsomely for every interview. Priscilla has always earned an absolute fortune with the Elvis Presley story, her romance, her so-called romance with Elvis. But my point is this: it was easy for her to get people on her side because all she had to do was say, "Well, I was only 14. I was only 14. I wasn't ready for love." I've seen her say it in questions. "Oh, you were only 14," and she'll say, "Yeah, I didn't really understand relationships. I was too young. My mind wasn't matured enough to understand a relationship age 14." That is how she would answer it. I'll tell you now, my daughter had a boyfriend age 14 and she fully understood the emotions of having a boyfriend. So she plays it down. We also go by child bride that she'd had many boyfriends by the time she met Elvis. So she plays a long game. So this is my point. This is my point, guys. Yeah, this is my point, guys. As soon as she says she's 14, she's won. The interviewer is always going to go, "Oh, poor you, what's Elvis doing dating a 14-year-old when he was 24?" Even though we know they just had a brief friendship and that she didn't really start properly dating him till she was about 18. She didn't marry him till she was 21. So This is how she wins. This is how she gets the upper hand. Now, I would say this, even with the Terry Wogan interview, I would say this, even with the Terry Wogan interview, when Terry Wogan is questioning her and sort of disagreeing with her a little bit, exposing her a little bit, if I was sat at home watching TV, watching the Terry Wogan interview and him questioning her, I would say that some people may have been on Priscilla's side. Some people may go, oh, what are you asking that for? Leave her alone. She's on your show, the Wogan show, trying to explain to you why she's decided to release the book, Elvis and Me, in 1985. And all you're doing is attacking her and trying to tell her off for making the decision to release the book. So what does Priscilla say? Let me just get past these people. So what does Priscilla say? She says, oh, I'm going to put the wrongs to rights. I'm going to put the wrongs to rights, yeah? I'm going to set the record straight once and for all. There's been books written that are just wrong, that say disgusting things about Elvis, say things that Elvis doesn't deserve. So when she's answering the questions in that way, you automatically assume that the book is going to be all good. The book is going to say all nice things. The book is going to praise Elvis, talk about Elvis in a good light. Many millions would have watched that interview and not bought the book. They just would have assumed that the book was nice. Millions, I would say. Millions did buy it, millions didn't buy it. I think on release, didn't it sell 3 million copies? I don't know, you tell me, guys. But this is my point. Priscilla goes on to say, oh, I think it makes Elvis look more human. So then Terry says, did Lisa read it? Because obviously Lisa is very young. You tell me, guys, how old was Lisa in 1985? She would have been, let me work it out, about 15? Does that sound right to you guys? I'm trying to work it out in my head. Woo! 17 maybe? It's right, the rain's in my, got the rain in my face. Between 15 and 17, yeah? She's born in 68 February, so 1985, yeah. Yeah, no, 17, around 17, yeah? She says, oh yes, Lisa has read it, she really likes it, she's read it 3 times. Now, we know what was in that book, we've read the book. I've read it a couple of times. Does anyone here for a second think that Lisa Marie would have been happy with what was put in that book? I don't think so. Because the book portrays Elvis in a bad light. It has good parts in it. It obviously discusses the romance. Woo! Obviously discusses the romance, doesn't it? Let's cross over before I get killed. I gotta be back here in 10 minutes to pick up the kids from school. So I'm just walking past the school. In 10 minutes, I'll be back there to pick up Yasmin and Tino. This is why I'm walking fast, yeah? So Lisa Marie would have read it. There's no way she would have been happy. But Priscilla, in that Terry Wogan interview, says, oh yeah, Lisa liked the book. She thought it was really good. She read it 3 times. Come on, guys. Oh, I'm putting the wrongs to right. The reason I've written the book is to set wrongs to right. Well, unfortunately, she put wrongs to wrongs. That's what she did. And then that book went on to cause so much damage to Elvis's image and reputation. Just in the same way as the book Elvis What Happened did. Because don't forget, Elvis What Happened, which was released a few weeks before Elvis died by Red West, Sunny West, Dave Hebler, was one of the beginning things that started calling Elvis an addict. The book doesn't go into Elvis's illnesses. I watched an interview today by Sally Hoddle. I don't know if you guys have seen it. The author of the book, Destined to Die Young. Obviously, me and her have different opinions. So I did watch her latest interview on her video release on her YouTube channel, and she basically says that Elvis even had colon problems, you know, constipation problems, even when he was a baby. You've seen it. Elizabeth, have you seen the most recent one with Sally Hoddle? She says that Elvis, even as a baby, couldn't go to the toilet, so they used all different treatments to try and help him go to the toilet. So Elvis had constipation problems even as a baby. And then Sally Hoddle goes on to say that basically Elvis was ill, unwell, chronically sick his whole life. Now, I don't like the title that she uses, Destined to Die Young. I just don't like it. I'm not fully convinced with this Alpha 1 syndrome she talks about. But one thing I will say about the book Destined to Die Young is at least it is trying to tell the fans information that Elvis was sick from childhood. So when Red West, Sonny West and Dave Hebler are discussing Elvis, calling him a drug addict, acting as if all he wanted to do was get stoned, at least you've got these books, there's not many, is there, that are trying to show that he actually was sick. He was chronically sick. He needed help. He needed medication. He needed prescribed medication. The doctors did the right thing medicating him, because that's all they could do. If someone is sick, what are you going to do? You're going to medicate him, aren't you? You get what I'm saying, guys? The doctors, what are you going to do? Elvis goes to the doctors. I can't go to the toilet. I can't sleep. I have anxiety. My body isn't working properly. I've got liver problems, breathing problems. Sally Hoddle says in 9 bodily functions out of 11, 9 of them in Elvis's body were not working properly. Now, I'm no doctor, she's no doctor, but it was obvious he was sick. So the Dave Hebler book just literally calls him an addict, that he just wanted to get stoned. I would say towards the end, Elvis was so sick, so unwell, he just wanted no pain. He wanted to be able to relax. He wanted to stop his anxiety. He wanted to be able to sleep. He wanted to pick himself up so he could perform in concert. He wanted to relax. He wanted to go to the toilet. These are all the different reasons. He wanted to breathe properly. He wanted to stop the aches and pains. You know, we could go on and on and on, couldn't we, guys? Anything. What do you do when you're feeling like that? Give me anything that works. And we know a lot of the things he took did not work and made things worse and were addictive and had many side effects. So it's that simple, guys. All of it just seems so... The more we talk about it, it all just feels like a lost cause, doesn't it? All of it. What Elvis went through with Priscilla, what Elvis goes through eventually with the Memphis Mafia, what Elvis went through with the trash book. Then you've got the divorce settlements. The second one was Priscilla had promised there wouldn't be one. Nearly bankrupting Elvis. A big part of the reason why Elvis had run out of money. Could you imagine how Elvis and Vernon felt when you had Priscilla attacking Elvis with her lawyers, demanding more and more money, more and more and more. How desperate they must have felt. I can imagine Elvis and Vernon behind the scenes, desperately trying to save Gracelands, trying to stop Gracelands becoming Priscilla's. I can imagine even after Elvis died, when Vernon was in charge, I can imagine Vernon still trying to prevent Priscilla from taking ownership of Gracelands. Maybe it was a compromise. Maybe Vernon making Priscilla co-executor, is it? Whatever the word they use, on behalf of Lisa Marie. Maybe that was a compromise, otherwise she was going to take Gracelands. Who knows, guys? Is it possible that Priscilla was about to take over Gracelands just before Vernon died? We don't know, do we, guys? We don't know what was going on. Some serious stuff. If we were a fly on the wall, and we can imagine what Priscilla was up to with her lawyers after Elvis died, with Vernon. Vernon's trying to make these extreme decisions. All that Vernon's interested in is saving Gracelands, preventing Gracelands from being taken, and protecting Lisa's inheritance. It was very clear that Elvis wanted everything to go to Lisa. It was very clear that Elvis wanted Priscilla removed from the will, even changing his will before he died to make sure that Priscilla didn't get anything. So the whole thing is a mess. But you do get from Priscilla the feeling that, how can I say it, that they got on well at the end. We were better apart. I spoke to him 2 days before he died. Everything was, we were closer after the breakup. I'm not convinced. I think it's a pack of lies. I think it's all a big lie, and I think the world has been conned. Maybe we, the public, should have asked more questions of Priscilla after the divorce, after Elvis died. Maybe we should have asked more questions concerning Lisa Marie's welfare when she was a child, when she was moving poor Lisa Marie from pillar to post, from one boyfriend to the next. Maybe we, the public, should have asked more questions. We, the Elvis fans. We didn't, because in the 1970s and 80s and 90s, you just didn't ask, did you? You didn't ask what was going on. It was none of our business. That's how it was, guys. Okay, I gotta quickly go and get the kids from school. I have no idea if we're doing another live. If we do, it'll be in an hour or so, but I don't think so. More questions should have been asked. Yeah. And we can't change it, can we? So what we can do, Elizabeth, we can defend Elvis Presley and Lisa Marie and the bloodline, and just try and keep the conversation going to expose the wrongdoing of Priscilla and other people. To defend Lisa. Remember, Lisa Marie also needs defending, because she is now being mistreated and attacked and lied about and insulted every day. And I'm sure they're even insulting Riley, Finley and Harper as well. So we're going to do our bit, guys, as Elvis fans, Elvis and the bloodline, Team Elvis. We're going to carry on doing our thing. There's nothing else we can do. Okay, guys, I'm home. Take care. All the best to you guys.